missing. So now I want to really, we've gone through our 5 questions. Let's talk about what we see in the data that could be really interesting to all of you. So I'll hand it back to Dan for that.
Yeah, sure, thanks. So we have this concept of decentralization and being able to trade assets that are fungible across multiple exchanges. So where we really start to deviate from traditional finances, if you want to know this stock price of Apple, you go to the stock exchange that it trades on at 4 p.m. and everybody agrees that that's the principal market, and that's that. But within crypto, you have multiple exchanges, as mentioned before, and Suzanne mentioned they're not all created equal. They don't always look at AML and KYC practices. They may not have market surveillance technologies looking at kind of trading behaviors. Actually, Bitwise did a piece several years ago around looking at kind of potential wash trading and kind of inflated volumes by some of the exchanges to track more users. But what you're seeing here is from the reputable exchanges that we vet through our own processes and policies at Luca, you actually see volume fluctuate over the exchanges. So why is this important? Is you're selecting a principal market, right? But how do you do that in a world in which trading activity is happening on multiple locales? So here's just an example of Bitcoin to US dollar, and you can actually see the difference between Coinbase and FTX. So what we hear a lot from auditors is, oh, you can just set your principal market and come back and review it in like 6 months, right? And okay, that's some issues there, right? Because what happens if volumes change, markets are dynamic, markets move extremely quickly, and liquidity can be created and evaporate very, very quickly, essentially instantaneous, right? So what you're seeing here is really kind of the distribution between some of the more reputable exchanges that we use, and you can kind of see kind of the distribution change between Coinbase and FTX. So this is for Bitcoin. You see it very similar for Solana, and then you can also see that for over a very shorter period of time. So there's longer term trends that you need to pay attention to. And then this gets to my point earlier is on how quickly kind of liquidity can change, could depending on time of day, could be depending on kind of what's going in the marketplace, kind of market maker activity or whatever the case may be. But you can see here, this is, these are hourly snapshots of volume. And you can actually see again, FTX and Coinbase Pro, which tend to be kind of the I would say the heavier traded kind of Bitcoin to US dollar markets. So you can actually see kind of that distribution change kind of within the hour, right? So even kind of if you equate volume to price discovery, kind of where that's happening at any point in time. Another question that we get is, obviously VWAPs have its own, benefits in the marketplace, not really fit for purpose for selecting fair market value for a couple of reasons. It's across exchanges, it's an average, it's not an actual transaction. So, VWAPs aren't really appropriate, not that we have anything against them. It's just for fair value purposes, it's not. And, so we monitor our data very closely. We have rigorous automated checks in place to check for activity. And just here's an example for ETH to Tether. You can actually see that for some reason, there's a trade down there. It doesn't seem to be significant in terms of kind of trade size. I don't know if you're able to actually see my mouse if I move it on the screen. Yeah, but you can see it, they start to trade together as one would expect, but what causes this trade down here? We're actually not sure. Somebody could fat finger it. It could have just been a market order in, whatever the case may be. And then, the price trades back in line with the other exchange here, right? So, should you include data points like this, right? Like, probably not. There's clearly something that caused that trade to occur off marketplace, right? So this is, you see this, many times. This is another example, again, ETH to USDT Tether. What we think is happening here is, this could be some type of sweeping of the book, right? So somebody could potentially here be putting in a large market order, essentially just consuming all of the liquidity that's in the order book at any given time. So again, if you're taking kind of averages at any point in time, should you be using this type of data to understand, where fair market value is, right? So one of the benefits of our algorithm is, we're selecting the principal market, and it's based on a lot of things. Volumes and bid-ask spreads do have a very significant impact into that. But what we're doing is selecting the exchanges that are least likely to experience behavior like this, right? And leads to a higher quality and more reliable data for our customers.